Hello, and welcome to Psychedelic Scene magazine. We are here today with a very special band, Timothy Eerie. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. It's nice
Yeah,
to meet you.
yeah, great to have you on the show. And so, where is so many questions for you? Timothy Eerie, where did the band name come from? Where you from? Things like that.
Yeah, the band name is a wordplay on Timothy Leary.
Hmm.
So that's where that came from. It's kind of confusing. Not everybody gets it at first. A lot of people get it, but most people might not know who Timothy Leary is. Um, I'm getting a call. Let me ignore them real quick. Hold on. Oh man, sorry. I'm doing this on my phone. Anyways, yeah, Timothy Leary was a pretty psychedelic guy. I thought it was fitting. And I've always liked band names that were sort of like a wordplay on somebody's name.
Hmm.
I just think it's like not that serious. So I've always kind
Yeah,
of resonated with it. And we're based in Orlando, Florida. Um, I've been living here for a while now. I was based in Austin for a little bit in 2018. Had some different band members playing with me at that time, and ended up back in Orlando, and that's where I'm at now.
that's cool. Now, how did
Yeah,
you recruit the band members? How did it all come about to bring the band together?
yeah. I was playing in this blues cover band actually with a couple of my friends, and we were jamming a lot. My our drummer Mike, we would carpool to the gigs. One night I showed him some of the stuff that I was recording. So they were just like the first Timothy Eerie demos. And he really dug it. He was really supportive. And he's like, we got to start a band, man. So that's kind of where it started. Mike and I were jamming out the songs. He had a lot of musician friends that he introduced me to. So we started building up the lineup from there. Um, and since then, it's evolved quite a lot. Um, so many people have kind of come and gone in the project, and it's all sort of depended on like what I was trying to do musically at any given moment. Right now, we're playing as a four piece, just two guitars, bass, and drums, kind of leaning more into a rock or punk approach to the songs. But there have been times where it was a huge it was just like a bigger band. We backup singers, tambourine player, keys, and that was kind of more of like a psychedelic feel. I don't know. I've just been doing it for so long that I like to have different people play in the project just to keep everything feeling fresh. The songs are a little bit different depending on who's playing with me, and yeah, it's just kind of a fun way to do it. So you meet people over time in the scene that you're playing in, and it happens pretty naturally with people joining the band.
Hmm. What was your inspiration for the album? I love the name of the album. Work
Thanks.
Free Drug Place.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's the dream, man. That's the dream. Yeah, I don't know. I've always like, as an artist, I've always felt like it would be it's always been like a fantasy of mine to be able to just work on music and experiment with different drugs and come up with ideas for songs and um in this kind of music I think that those things go hand in hand.
Hmm.
um Creativity and altered states of mind and of consciousness. So I mean, it's supposed to be funny, but realistically, it's sort of like this like utopian thing of like, just being living a life where you can just be creative all the time and work, work and a job and all these things sort of have felt like they've gotten in the way of my creative output. So of course, but you of course you have to do these. You have to do the things. You got to pay the bills, keep the lights on. So that's the idea for the name of the album. But the music itself was sort of it just came from um basically been working on some of these songs for years, and I didn't necessarily think I was going to put it on an album, but I was just writing and I was recording and I was trying different stuff, and it would sit on my computer for a while. A couple years later, I'd come back to it and add things. Maybe I'd start the whole thing over and reapproach it. Maybe take one section of a song and then build the whole song, rebuild the whole song around that one section that I really liked. And so I just kept like working on tunes and like demoing things out and writing. And probably around 20, I guess maybe 2021, uh, towards the end of the year, I started looking at the library of music that I'd created and thinking that it was enough for an album. And I hadn't put out an album since 2019. So the idea of it really appealed to me. I love albums. I love listening to albums start to finish. And I feel like that's kind of like a dying art. But yeah, at that point I realized I had enough material, and I didn't necessarily think all the songs were really cohesive because I'd written them over the course of such a long period of time that it really went all over the place. And there was like a handful of tunes that I had just written that we took into a studio that I felt were like even different from stuff that I had done a couple years prior. But I like the idea of that, and I like albums that are all over the place. Kind of feels like a roller coaster and less of just like every song sounding the same. So that's kind of how I was able to like stitch it all together and make it into a thing that hits a lot of different genres, I think, or subgenres within psych music. And then it just kind of came together, and I felt like the title was kind of reflective of that too. This idea of like experimentation in your life and in your music and what you do.
Excellent. Very cool. And as a fellow musician, there's so many questions I want to ask you about that because in today's day and age, to make it as a musician, what is it like? How is it like to tour, to do things like that in 2023?
Yeah, man, it's a lot of work. There's a lot to do. People probably don't realize it. But it's rewarding.
And
We're
that's what I
pretty
want to show
independent.
the people. Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, no, I'd love to share a little bit about it. We're pretty independent. We've worked with different record labels since we started releasing music, and that's always been helpful. But besides that, I do a lot of the legwork. I write the songs, I record most of it, and finance a lot of it myself too. There's like so many expenses that go into it, whether it's mixing and mastering a record, um, or acquiring the gear. Touring can be challenging too. I booked the tours for the most part. We've been doing it long enough where I could kind of rely on promoters in different towns that have seen us and that dig us and want to help us out. So that's taken some of the burden off of my shoulders. But yeah, it's a lot of work. You basically you come up with tunes, you find people to play them with you. There's rehearsals, there's booking shows, playing the shows. All of this stuff is like really time consuming. Um, and then you want to record it and have something released that people can listen to online, and so that you can have new songs to play at shows. Living in Orlando and playing in Orlando for so long, it's we have a lot of the same people come and see us every time we play, and it's like you want to try different stuff and keep it fresh. So just like always trying to come up with new ideas, and and so that's the cycle. You're writing, you're recording, releasing, and then trying to tour to help promote the new music. So that alone, it takes up a lot of time, and it takes a lot of effort and commitment. But I love to do it, and I feel like I've harnessed a lot of the skills that are required to make all that happen. And I'm just grateful to be able to do it, and that people are still into it. I mean, if people weren't into it, I don't know if I would still be doing it, but it seems like there are people uh that like to check it out and like to stay up to date and like to follow us. So we'll keep on plowing through. But it is a lot of work, and it can really consume you sometimes. It's important to just, I think, have like a good perspective on everything so that you don't really have the fun sucked out of it with all the work that goes into it.
Good, good advice. Very good advice. Now the album is great. You know, I really enjoy the mantras and how the songs sort of interweave a bit. What were some of the songs? Toad Venom, Sapphire
Yeah,
Eyes, Your Own Trip. Even the Beatles cover, Get Back is really good. I Won't Hurt You, uh, and Higher Than You, to name a few of the tracks.
and that was almost all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. And what
that was
was
a
like?
lot of them.
Oh, okay. Like the musical inspiration, like I heard Yes a little bit. I heard so many different inspirations and an original, a very original band, Timothy Eerie. Uh, I dig it.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. Well, not that it's hard, but it's like I can only sound like myself. I have a lot of influences, and I think they can be perceived obviously with covers. Like I love the Beatles, and I love the West Coast pop art experimental band. The song "I Won't Hurt You" is a cover by them. Um, but some of the bigger influences and some of the people that I wanted to reflect with my music and with this album would be like Rocky Erickson of the 13th Floor Elevators, Skip Spence of Moby Grape, and he has a great solo album too. Obviously, I paid homage to him with my song Skip Spence, which is like kind of a storytelling of his crazy life that he lived. Sid Barrett, Pink Floyd era stuff. These guys all have albums that I've spent so much time listening to, and they're some of my favorite records. And I also feel like they were a little all over the place in a good way, in a way that was like kind of kept you on your toes. They were unpredictable. You never really knew what was going to come next. If you listen to Piper at the Gates of Dawn, it's just like every song is from like another universe or something, and somehow it all kind of comes together in like this perfect little package. So, so those are the musical inspirations. I mean, I love '60s psych pop, really obscure like acid tapes and more modern day bands that I'm into that I find honestly just as inspiring are like the OCs and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is like top two. Love Ty Segall. Those are those are bands, and there's a couple others too actually that I'd like to name. Foxygen made a really big impression on me when they were around, and also the
Hmm.
Brian Jonestown Massacre. There have been different times in my musical life where I've found a band that I've fallen in love with, and it's completely changed how I look at music. The Brian Jonestown Massacre is a perfect example because they're like their musicality or their technique is so like amateur. I don't mean that in an offensive way. It kind of is inspiring because it makes you feel like their driving force is their creativity, their songwriting, their taste. And it's not so much about like how hard they can shred or like how many notes or chords are in each song. It's more about like this sort of uh, creativity. It's sort of hard to like pin down like what it is that's so good about those bands, and that's what I really like about it. But yeah, those are my musical heroes, and I hope that maybe my stuff kind of sounds like them or is inspired by them. It's kind of hard for me to say. It's so subjective, and I can't really look at my own music the way that other people can hear it. So it's hard for me to say, but I love all those guys.
It's great. And what is ahead for Timothy Eerie the band? What's in the
We,
future?
yeah, right. What's coming next? Just kind of like continuing the cycle. Like I've got a new EP that I recorded, and I'm trying to finish right now. I'll probably come out with that in the spring. We did South by Southwest for the first time this past year. Would love to come back out there, so that's a possibility. Probably continue doing like regional and national touring. What I'd love to do, if anybody's listening, is go on tour with a bigger band and do some supporting tours. We've done a few in the past with La Luz and Surfer Blood and some other bands. It's been really cool, but I would love to just connect with other bands and find find bands that we align with and just connect with them, collaborate and play with them. I mean, at this point, that's like the most rewarding thing that we've been up to lately is just like finding other people that maybe sound like us or maybe are like interested in like the same kind of stuff as us and linking up, booking a show, playing in their town, having them come play where we live. Um, and so I'd love to just do more of that. I just want to write more music. I still have so many ideas for songs, and I would love to take it in some different directions. And I just hope to grow musically and I don't know, gain more fans, gain more people that are like minded.
Excellent. So thank you for being on the program. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience in closing?
Um, Geez, yeah, I mean, it's all about the art, the artistry of it, and real art and real music is transporting. It takes you somewhere else, and I think that's like I think everybody should have a creative outlet, and I feel like that should be the goal if you want to make something worthwhile. Just you got to make stuff that you like and that will transport people. Um, and anything outside of that is just bullshit.
Right on. Thank you for being on the program. This has been Psychedelic Scene Magazine.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.